We will be in 1 Thessalonians 5 again in a minute, but given what's happened over the weekend, opportunity arose in text thread with our family up north, I think, for a little bit of a teaching moment here. Brother Haney posted a video on social media that was 37 minutes long. Where was that bridge? Which bridge was that, Scott?
You'll have to ask my social media manager.
Okay. Well, it showed it was a bridge that was, let's just say, quite a bit elevated above the riverbed. How's that? And it showed the progress over 37 minutes of what happened. And I sent that to our adult children up north just to show them what was going on around here. And one of our adult children said, that made me think, because at times I think that when I read the account of the flood in Genesis, that really didn't happen, because that's crazy, that amount of water that would be talked about in the flood. But I think there's a teaching moment here. That rainstorm was in a little tiny pocket of this part of the country. And look how much water happened. Look at all the rain they got up there. Someplace got west of Austin, got 20 inches of rain. And we read the account of the flood and we go, well, did it really happen? I think what we've seen can really reinforce that, yes, that Genesis 7, 8, and 9 are historical narrative, telling us what really happened. And I just want to go there and read it. And let's think about that in light of what's happened. This can reinforce the reality of a far greater inundation than we've seen here, as much as we've seen here. Let's go to Genesis chapter 7, verse 11. Moms and dads, maybe this is something for your back pocket to help teach your children here today. Genesis 7, verse 11. In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month, on the 17th day of the month, on that day all the fountains of the great deep burst forth, and the windows of the heavens were opened. All right, I'll stop there. You'll notice that it's just not water coming down from up there. It's water coming up from the fountains of the great deep as well. And it doesn't give us any indication that this is merely localized, because it says in verse 12, and rain fell upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights. Now, we don't know exactly what the terrain looked like here. Was everything exactly the way it is? The mountains and the valleys, are they the way they are now, the way they were back then? Or did, because of what happened in chapter 7, 8, and 9, change the terrain? I don't know, but I know that this happened. So let's keep on reading. And rain fell upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights. On the very same day, Noah and his sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and Noah's wife and the 3 wives of his sons with them entered the ark, they and every beast according to its kind, and all the livestock according to their kinds, and every creeping thing that creeps on the earth according to its kind, and every bird according to its kind, every winged creature. They went into the ark with Noah, 2 and 2 of all flesh, in which there was the breath of life. And those that entered, male and female of all flesh, went in as God had commanded him, and the Lord shut him in. The flood continued 40 days on the earth. The waters increased and bore up the ark, and it rose high above the earth. Think if just try and imagine if everywhere on earth was getting rain at the rate that places were getting the rain they were getting on Friday and Saturday. Everywhere. There's no break anywhere. And water is coming up from below at the same time. Verse 18, the waters prevailed and increased greatly on the earth, and the ark floated on the face of the waters. And the waters prevailed so mightily on the earth that all the high mountains under the whole earth were covered. The waters prevailed above the mountains, covering them 15 cubits deep. If you do the math, a cubit is about 18 inches, so that's about 22 feet of water over the top of the mountains. And all flesh died that moved on the earth, birds, livestock, beasts, all swarming creatures that swarm on the earth, and all mankind. Everything on the dry land in whose nostrils was the breath of life died. He blotted out every living thing that was on the face of the ground, man and animals and creeping things and birds of the heavens. They were blotted out from the earth. Only Noah was left and those who were with him in the ark, and the waters prevailed on the earth 150 days. 5 months. All that water, covering everything. But God remembered Noah and all the beasts and all the livestock that were with him in the ark. And God made a wind blow over the earth, and the waters subsided. The fountains of the deep and the windows of the heavens were closed. The rain from the heavens was restrained, and the waters receded from the earth continually. At the end of 150 days, the waters had abated, and on the 17th day of the month, the ark came to rest on the mountains of Ararat. And the waters continued to abate until the 10th month. In the 10th month, on the first day of the month, the tops of the mountains were seen. At the end of 40 days, Noah opened the window of the ark that he had made and sent forth a raven. It went to and fro until the waters were dried up from the earth. Then he sent forth a dove from him to see if the waters had subsided from the face of the ground. But the dove found no place to set her foot, and she returned to him to the ark, for the waters were still on the face of the whole earth. So he put out his hand and took her and brought her into the ark with him. He waited another 7 days, and again he sent forth the dove out of the ark. And the dove came back to him in the evening, and behold, in her mouth was a freshly plucked olive leaf. So Noah knew that the waters had subsided from the earth. Then he waited another 7 days and sent forth the dove, and she did not return to him any more. In the 601st year, in the first month, the first day of the month, the waters were dried from off the earth. And Noah removed the covering of the ark and looked, and behold, the face of the ground was dry. In the second month, on the 27th day of the month, the earth had dried out. Verse 13 says, in the 601st year, in the first month, the first day of the month, the waters were dried from off the earth. The passage then had told us earlier that this had started in the first day of the 600th year of Noah. What had happened under all that water all that time? I don't know. We don't need to have historical events happen in our day and time in order to reinforce the truth of the Bible, because the Bible was just as true last week as it is today. But all that happens when we see things happening in history is that they show that this is not preposterous. This is not out of line. This is not some crazy story that could never happen. This could indeed happen if you put this on a much grander scale, the events of the past couple of days. Genesis 6, 7, 8, 9, they were all true last week. But now we can see how, in reality, in 3 dimensions, space, in space and time, how this could really happen, how that much water could cover the face of the earth. Because the flood is not a myth. The flood is not fantasy. The flood is not allegorical trying to prove some point. This is narrating history. That's what historical narrative is. Telling what happened. This is real. Just like the stories coming out with all of these things that we're seeing in the last couple of days. They're real. Genesis describing the flood is real. And you can reinforce that now to your children. And hopefully, if you too, like one of our children, had any little doubt about could this have really happened, hopefully the events of the last couple days will reinforce the truth of what Scripture has to say here. Okay, let's go to 1 Thessalonians 5 now.